conference. Please enter the... Thank you. Moderator ID accepted. All guests are currently muted. To unmute all guests, press 9. For help with host options, press *0. You will now be connected with the conference.
All right, everybody, away we go. Welcome to today's call. It is Friday, March 15th of 2019. I can't believe that we're not going to celebrate St. Patrick's Day together. You're going to get away from me for that day, but I will send you my Irish love via social media. Welcome to today's call. I'm looking forward to it because we are fresh in my office in adding a team member. Autumn is here with us in my core team now, and we're excited about that because yesterday, going through a couple of the details on what I thought the mastermind should be focused on, she picked up a couple of things here, and one of them was our discussion that she and I were having in and around this long-term follow-up in this relationship. And Paul Cantu, one of our other clients here at the TRC, was talking about that he had really understood what I was saying about building this small cache of prospects, in saying that if you will just simply find some people that are out there that are more than willing to give you the time of day so that you can offer your services and your follow-up to them, then you're creating an opportunity where you can really obsess over handling that relationship the best that you can so that you go deeper into a level of trust so that down the line, these people really don't see the other competition. And I mean that in a very sincere way, is that especially in a case where we're pursuing expired listings, a lot of the people just don't want to go at it right again. Their circumstances have changed. Doesn't mean they've stopped their desire to sell or move on with their lives, but something's changed. And so it's not going to happen right away, but it is going to happen again. And so a lot of people have the mentality that they want to just run out there and they want to run out there and try to just grab, this concept like, hey, I'm just going to go out and get this. Sorry, I got distracted. I've got a lot of moving parts here. Let me just check technology for 1 second. I want to make sure I'm going live here too. I'll come back to you. Don't worry. So the whole idea here is that I want to make sure you understand that long-term follow-up is by far and away one of the most critically important things to focus on in sales. I know we're here today and we want to practice all this stuff, and we want to think about, hey, what are we really doing as far as short term? Can we scrape some cream? Can we get going, quickly with somebody? And look, I get it. Like, we'd love to have that in my office here. I'm sitting here looking at Laura and Autumn, and we'd love the now seller, the now buyer. But the truth is, when you're building a book of business and sales, you're manufacturing relationships with people that you might know a little bit. They might have gotten referred. They might have already done business with you. But really, business is about trying to manufacture relationships with people that don't know you. That's what makes a real estate agent or agency business one and the same. It makes it viable in the long run. And that's what we're trying to introduce here. Is it's sort of this understanding of that this is an organic growth. And organic growth means you got to get down and dirty in that farm. You have to plant the right kind of seeds, and you have to be patient. Everybody's in such a hurry. It's staggering to me that salespeople in the real estate agency business are in such a hurry. Everybody's talking about transactions first. Can't wait to get those transactions. But when I take an inventory of all the top producers and their team members, and I look at all the transactionally based mentality out there, I find inevitably most of those companies are performing at a below average sale price, and oftentimes also a below average commission rate. So where are you hurrying to? The basement, right? You're supposed to be building this fortress in the sky, and you're supposed to be doing it correctly. And the way to do that correctly is take pause, think, where is the ideal spot to do business? Ideal. Don't give me this, but I need cash flow. You need those things because you have created that reality with the thinking that you have. Your business is a manifestation. Your sales pipeline is a manifestation of your belief system about how this business works. But on average, hear me say that because you're going to try to explain me away. I know you are, and I won't let you do that. On average, that's the way you should build a business, and it's understanding. So meaning that what? When you are looking at the business in its average in this ideal area, it's very easy to find the average sale price. It's also smart to look at the middle sale price so that you have this distribution, so that all those excuses about, well, I need to go where property sells, great, no argument. But if you don't know the average and the median price in the target market, then you don't know where property is selling the most. Because that is the bell curve, right? And that's the big bubble in the middle where most to the little bit to the left and a little bit to the right of that, a lot of action happens. But most people that are transactional, who set this transactional goal, are just naive when it comes to the money. And ultimately, this sales training that we're talking about here today and every week is about making money. Otherwise, you don't have a sustainable business. So if your desire to drive transactions before an understanding of average money, you're going to end up struggling to do more and more and more on the margin with a very difficult avatar and trying to grow that. It's difficult. So my argument is, why are we all making this so much more difficult when on average it's easier than somebody who gets pulled down to the left of the bell curve, where you can chase a lot of transactions, you can throw blood in the water, distress sales, foreclosures, all this IDX nonsense that really is not the best business you could be pursuing, okay? I say nonsense because I'm trying to wake you up that there's better out there and it's accessible for each one of you. Nothing wrong with the folks that want to do business at either end. The very high end, the very low end, there's people out there, okay? And our obligation as licensees is to serve anybody and contribute to their process, anybody who comes our way. I get that. But you are in business, and my job is to share with you information that protects that business. And the reality, the harsh reality is, if you don't generate enough gross commission income as it relates to what you must expend or spend to get there, we got a problem, Houston, right? A minus B better equal a positive C, or you're out of business pretty shortly, right? So, all right. So having said that little rant while everybody was still rolling in here, I wanted to see if any of my gang here had sent me recordings. And so I know Tony Legendry was working on it, but then I'm going to come back to my conversation about my own team sitting in front of me, Laura and Autumn, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what Autumn and I just talked about. Yes, I do have a for sale by owner call from Tony. So I will read that or listen to that out loud with you in a second. But let me just tell you about where I've gone with my business. As Laura and I have expanded the business, there's a tremendous pressure on us to do more work in and around the listings that we have, servicing the clients that we have, paying attention to our past client community, and that's taxed our time. So the leverage on time is one of the most important things in business, period, right? But that's a sign of growth. If somebody's moving up the ladder, per se, in what their responsibilities are, that creates a vacuum on that assembly line of manufacturing new relationships, which is what we talked about. So it's been hard for us to find somebody who would fit perfectly into that right seat, meaning what? In your sales pipeline, there's 3 dispositions and conversion, okay? We're not talking about lead generation. That's a marketing conversation. But let's just presume that there is somebody to call today. There's somebody to call back from an open house, a FSBO, a probate lead, or an expired lead. And you pick that up. Well, that name or that contact information, for the most part, has the disposition of lead. And somebody has to go in there and determine, number one, can we help these people, right? It's number one. What we talked to Autumn about is, look, Autumn, you have 40 years with experience as a telemarketer. I don't need you to sell anything. I don't want you to sell anything. What I want you to do is pick up the phone, and I want you to see if we can contribute to that human being's real estate situation and better their lives, period. If you do nothing more than spread that goodness of brand, that goodwill, it's called on an income statement or a balance sheet. It's called goodwill. Spread the goodwill of the brand and the company. Why do I say it like that? Because I know that the byproduct of that mentality will be that people will lean in. They'll be magnetically attracted if they are motivated to do so, to ask us for more services. Some free for quite a while, yes, but ultimately that's the whole process. Beat number one for all of you, contribute as much as you can to people who have a real estate context first. Secondly, determine the timing to see if it makes sense to continue to contribute to them and if they're willing to let you contribute to their situation. and ultimately stick with the time frame that you set up with them, all the while educating them more and more and more, so that when they go to make a decision to do this thing, meaning buy a property or sell again in this case of the expireds, you are really the only choice. You're the only choice at that point in time. I know that sounds crazy, but most people will quit if they cannot skim the cream right there and get somebody to do what they want. Everybody's lost this sense of contribution. We've become a massive taking society. I'm not saying everybody, but the mentality out there is to take. Got to stop it. Got to contribute, and then follow up and contribute some more and some more and more. And it is amazing. You will be rewarded. Okay. So she picked up the phone today, which is your first week here, right? We're not even in a full week yet, right? And just turned that mentality loose and was able to find somebody at the very high end already, multi-millions, okay? Already, 1 week in, we're having a conversation. He did not blow her off. He did not tell her to go away. He said, thank you, just not right now. Is it okay to follow up? Fair enough. Am I summarizing this correctly? You can say.
And he's told me it was a 12-month cycle.
Okay, so he's a 12-month cycle. There's the ideal avatar. Somebody who is at the very highest end of property here. We are certainly prepared to demonstrate our services to that person. He was a gentleman, and his timing was the avatar also inside of 12 months. And so now, I don't know what kind of offer of follow-up you made up. We'll get into that on the call today. But the bottom line is, this gentleman now knows us. We now can send him more information. We can update him via email.
He's actually getting our seller course and has been opening.
He's getting our seller course and he's opening it. We're in a conversation.
He is opening it.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 50% of the
50% of this guy's opening. I mean, like,
And he
I know you. Yeah, I know
likes
you.
me.
He likes her. I know you all don't want to believe it's this straightforward, but it is this straightforward. Okay. And if you would just execute a simple plan to contribute to people, Laura's over here saying he's opening our seller course and he likes it. Autumn over here saying he likes me and he's allowing me to follow up.
I'm his avatar for a telemarketer.
There we go.
And you're doing a happy dance inside.
And I'm doing a happy dance inside because I am the strategist saying that if we will stick to the plan, these opportunities will exist. It's not a sale. It's not a tomorrow we get in the house, but it is exactly where we want to be. It exactly, helps us expand revenue if it happens. And now the team gains confidence that the plan works and that we need to stick to it. That is a game changer, folks. Okay. And I'm telling you, it is not rocket science. It does not require an enormous amount of money and outlay. If you don't have a time leverage problem like I do, then you would do what Autumn did today. You would do what Laura does today. It's just a matter of scale. The reason why I need help is because our business has scaled. So time leverage goes down. And so you add things to it to make it go back up, right? Meaning you leverage over time. All right. I'm going to open up the microphones here. Remember, *6 mutes your microphone, okay? Or you can just mute it yourself. I would be happy. I will actually do this. I will open up with sales Q&A first. I do have a for sale by owner recording that Tony Legendry sent me that I will go over and listen to that as well, so we can hear live calls. Soon enough, you'll be able to hear live calls from my office, which will be helpful. I know we all cringe when we want to, think about that, but there's nothing more important than hearing what the consumer is saying on the other side, so that real live adjustments to be able to be contributors in a better manner matters, okay? So I'm going to open this up. Remember, outside and inside sales questions are fair game on this. If it melds a little bit into marketing, because it has to do with setting you up to get on the phone or in the face of people that are a better avatar for you, I'm happy to deal with that. I just don't want to go too far into marketing, so try to keep it sales, okay? All right, here we go. Who's up with a Q&A question? Charlie, you're in the hot seat. Go, bud.
I called the expired yesterday, and the woman picked up the phone, and I said I had sent a package out, and I'm a little different than some other real estate agents, and she cut me off, and she said, "Listen, I'm in the car with my kids right now. I don't want to have a conversation with them in front of them. So you have a nice day. Bye-bye." She hung up on me.
Yep.
So I want to know what, just next step for me, in
Did-
terms of compensation or
Yeah.
card or?
Did you, hold on. Did you contribute, she's an expired, okay? Did you contribute beyond just telemarketing? In other words, have you now subsequently sent the package to her?
Yeah, the package was sent a day or two before that.
Okay, so the package did go out. A handwritten note.
Yeah.
Sorry I caught you in the car the other day with your children. It seemed like something more private. I just wanted to reiterate, I sent a package that I think would be helpful and might shed some light on the situation in the market. I'll try to follow up soon and catch you at a better time. So presuming
Okay.
they're little kids or school age kids, they could be at school. So you try to pick a different time. What time did you pick them up? If you talk to a mother, and who knows why they're selling the house, and it's really upsetting to kids when you sell a house. So she did exactly the right thing. She just bailed. So she was frantic.
Yeah.
But there's no affront to you. That's the reality of the situation.
Can I add something?
Yeah, you can. Of course.
When this is Autumn, when I talk to people often, I will say, and you have to be very confident when you say this, but I will say, do you have a moment to talk? Or am I catching you at a bad time, or do you have a moment to talk? And they will remember you when you say that, because most people on the telephone do not give them the option. They just start talking at them.
Yeah.
So it's very good to just say, do you have a moment, or however I said it, because I'm a little nervous right now. But he's basically just asking them, do you have a moment to talk?
Yeah.
So when they say yes, you've got that stage, and then you can relax.
Yeah.
If she says no, I'm in the car with the kids, then it's like, I will give you a call another time. What's the best time? Try to keep that conversation going.
Yeah. And the other thing though, Charlie, is hang on. The other thing here is that I think what's important to understand is that, let me go back to this whole content thing. You sent something that's valuable to her in the situation, presuming that there was a real intent to sell. Okay? So just stay connected to that. Just stay connected to that. Autumn's suggestion about, like, if you hear noise in the background, hey, Sue, this is Charlie Egan. It sounds like I might have caught you at a bad time. You have a minute? Do you have a minute? Yeah, who's this? It's Charlie Egan from Charlie Egan Realty. And I just want to let you know, I sent you over this thing because I thought it would help. Hey guys, got live mics here. So you want to get in and out of Dodge quickly there. But there's some other word whiskers in that I heard in this, and I want to go back and make sure that this wasn't what you were saying. I'm a little bit different from everybody else, and I sent this over to you. I heard "I" too many times in a very short period of time, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
it sounds insecure. It sounds like, let's stay with the letter I. It sounds insecure. Why are you telling me about you?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, again, go back to this sense of every time somebody says yes, am I contributing to their situation or not? And to Autumn's point about like what you hear going on, am I respectful of what environment I'm hearing on the other side? I think, Duran and I were dealing with one of his inside sales gals, and she had become very disconnected from that because she was so adamant about reaching the goal in her head, which was, can I get a good appointment that will actually show up? Because I asked her, what's your goal? Could I get a good appointment? I said, well, the problem is when you're that goal oriented towards that thing, and now this script is weighing in on you, and now you're getting nervous, and then you start to say weird things that make you sound insecure or disconnected, right? And I think that's the danger in this. You must stay connected to this conversation that is completely about this other human being and has nothing to do with you yet, right? It's amazing to me how insecure we all still are when we get into that initial conversation at an open house. We get it on the phone. We go face to face. Well, I've never done listings before. What? Like the person across the table is not human? I mean, I've had people do buyer agency for like 5-6 years before they even warmed up to going to listings. And I said, why? You dealt with sellers for the past 5 years doing buyer agency. So what are you doing? Like, what are you talking about? So there's sort of a weird disconnection from what it is that we're actually, trying to do. So I just think you forgot who it was about, myself.
clarify by asking if they have a moment. Do I identify myself and my profession before I ask them if they have
Well,
a
you don't
moment?
you don't have to say
myself?
you don't have to say your profession. Okay. I mean, again, it's like, why do I need your resume, even if it's the Twitter version of it? I don't need it yet. It's not important to me, right?
Okay.
I think identifying the introduction in any script, you call anybody, you want to identify yourself for sure. I mean, look, I'm sitting next to someone with 40 years of subtle experience tweaks, but let's go foundational for a second here, okay? The foundational thing is,
Okay.
I'm Danny Griffin from Griffin Realty Group. The reason I'm calling is because I saw that your house expired, so I sent you something that I think could help. I mean, that's it. If you can get that out of your mouth to anybody, it gives them context. It's who you are, why you're calling, and what's in it for them, right? I mean, you've hit all the major beats, right? So even if you
didn't
say,
ask them if they had a moment.
hold on, see what I'm saying?
Okay.
You're getting yourself all worked up about that too. That's why I said, Charlie, if you call 50 people, don't ask them if they have a moment. Not yet. And that's what I'm saying. There's layers of things that we have to get across first. If you're already good at this, you have experience at this, and you're dealing from a position of plenty, fine. But what I would say is that everyone that's listening to the sales call, round number one would be, hi, it's Danny Griffin from Griffin Realty Group. The reason I'm calling is I saw that your house expired. I just want to let you know that I sent something to you in the mail, and I wanted to give you a heads up it was coming. I think it'll be helpful. It sounds a little noisy in the car. I could probably follow up later if that's better for you. Just become a human. You know what I mean? Like, so there's no order to it other than what I'm saying I suggest right now. I suggest you get this first line out, because here's the problem with going to an advanced comment first. Hey, it sounds busy in there. Can I call you back? Who are you? Who are you? Like, what? No, don't call me back. I don't even know why you're calling me. Right? So I would absolutely give it context first and let them know what you did. And then I would be cognizant of what they're doing and saying. Hang on, someone's got a hot mic. Okay. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Get the first line out. Because the first line is an introduction that I'm a contributor and here's what I contributed to you. Period. I don't care if it's a FSBO, expired, probate, Hey, it's Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. The reason I'm calling, I saw that you are the administrator of an estate for Sally Jones. So we sent you out some package that we think will be helpful to you. It gives you a lot of terminology about the whole process. Period. Like I'm contributing to you. I'm going to send you something that contributes and builds you up in that moment of time, right? I mean, you're what you're doing is you're white knuckling the wheel when you're calling, right? Don't do that. This is what exactly I heard this, my gosh, multiple times. Don't white knuckle the wheel. Just be human. Have some sort of a beat that you look at. How am I going to contribute to this person, even if it's like a real high D or a fire sale moment? How am I going to contribute? Like, I think you should get off the phone after each phone call, all of you, and say, under pressure, theirs or mine, was I able to make any kind of positive contribution, right? I mean, I think that is a worthy ideal that's worth pursuing. Make sense, Charlie?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of reasons why. Number one, they will appreciate it because it is extremely different. In a world where we're taking and there's negative, you should have heard the conversation. I forgot my headphones at the gym today. You should have heard the conversation in the gym today. It was so negative because these gals that are working out in the morning are just talking about the news and politics. And it was so negative that it made me realize what a great opportunity it is for us to show up at an open house, make a phone call, and just be positive. I am here because I'm going to do something for you positive. You might be stressed out by the news this morning too, right? But at the end of the day, I sent you something that I think will help you. You got to make that kind of contribution to be unique these days. That's crazy, but it's true. Yeah, you want to say something?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Laura was nodding her head yes.
Yeah.
All right, Charlie, great question though. I mean, great question. And now be more voluminous, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not giving me any other anecdotes. You're giving me that one. Do you have any other anecdotes that you can share?
Well, this is the first time I've been able to get phone numbers.
Good.
My pilot guy. So I got 10 phone numbers. I called 10. I only got one person live. Other ones I just left messages.
Okay. All right. And what was the message out of curiosity?
I said, I'm Charlie Egan from Village Properties. The reason I'm calling is I sent you a package of information that would be helpful. I saw you expired. And if I'll call you back in a few days. Hopefully try to catch you. Otherwise, my phone number is, and I gave him my phone number.
Okay. I'll call you back to make sure you get it because it will be helpful. Just set up the next call that's coming because we don't want to leave some kind of a weird message that doesn't allow us to call back, just simply to say, did you get it? Like it's weird, like because we're always a few too many steps down the line. And by being unique like this, I saw that you had this. I sent this really good stuff to you. I'm really just calling to give you a heads up it's coming. Great. I'll look for it. Awesome. I'll give you a call back in a couple days because I'm sure you'll have questions. And you could be presumptive like that too, and you can set it up. But I think, again, the reason I love the world of content marketing, which is not new, you and I learned this 10, 15 years ago about free reports and free list of properties. That's all stuff that's sent out that's intended to be helpful, right? So I think it's important to get reconnected to that because I think it calms down all these conversations, right? I mean, you heard her loudly and clearly. I don't want to talk about this in front of my kids. Bye, click. Right?
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
She didn't even want them asking her, who was that? What did he want? You got it? Cool?
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, man.
Okay, buddy. Yeah, good question. I'll take another question. Let's do some more Q&A before we hit listening to this call. More Q&A. Come on. Got 25 plus people live in the call. I've got them up here on online. Let me hear from somebody.
Hey, Danny?
Yeah, man. Go ahead, GVD.
GVD, calling the expired. What kind of, so I call up the expired, it's on that auto dialer. They pick up, hey, and here's my script, or here's what I just said at them. Hey, this is Grant Van Dyke, Remax here in whatever city we sent to, Scottsdale in this case.
Yep.
So, hey, this is Grant Van Dyke with Remax in Scottsdale. We saw your home just expired on the MLS. We're not sure if you took it off intentionally or if it just ran out of time. Wanted to let you know we sent out some great information to maybe help explain what may have happened there in your sale.
Yeah, I think that's close. Yeah, I think that's close. I mean, I think here's why I like recorded calls, and I just asked a whole bunch of people, be cognizant, make sure you send some recorded calls. I think we can really think and obsess and train about what we think is the right thing to say and do. I will go back to what I said, Grant. I think the most important thing is to make sure you think contribution, right? You have to think contribution. That's the most important thing. So that when you leave a message or you call them, I'm calling because I saw that you had this context. You expired. It was great, Grant. It was nice and smooth. Don't know whether you came off intentionally or you just ran out of time. But either way, I sent you some information that I think will be helpful, right? To maybe figure out why it didn't sell. Just be specific. Say, unless you did, and that's why we added that language, unless you took it off intentionally. Why? We learned from the consumer. Consumer was getting mad at us when we were sending the package and we weren't saying that. Because a lot of people take their property off intentionally or they let it expire intentionally. They don't price reduce intentionally. Because the truth might be, Grant, that at their first round, they were testing things. They weren't really motivated. I've come to see that motivation sometimes is a lot longer process. Doing it on my own house, right? I mean, I'm how many months in, 5, 6 before I got much more motivated, right? Because I could see clearly where I was going to go and, with the kids and what my next stage of life is. It just took me a while and I'm in the business, right? And I coach. So, the human part of it.
You are in the business. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the point is that I think we're always looking for like the timing to be ours, right? I want you to sell again right now because I need a new listing for $2 million in the waterfront in Cape Cod. Well, isn't that great? Don't we all?
We're not respecting the consumer's
Perfect.
process.
Perfect.
You
You
know,
hear what she said, Grant? We're not respecting the consumer's process. So that's the mindset first. I think what you said was great. I love your Midwestern tone. You are always great with that, and you have that natural way of contributing. And I think win, lose, or draw, think about it as marketing. If you could imagine this area in Scottsdale, Arizona, maybe Carefree, particularly wherever it's going, you just became, and this is what I was saying the other day to you about the community page. I think the community page on Facebook is great, but what about the guy named Grant picking up the phone and calling everybody in the community who has context already and being helpful to those people, right? See where I'm going? Why are we at the outer ring and the bullseye when we could be at an inner ring where there are people with real estate context that are obvious? So I think what you said was just fine. Now, I would say that for all of you that are leaving messages, I still think we have to be careful of how you leave a message and what you say. And I think you can't lose the opportunity to either provoke or trigger them to call back. Now, this might be a little bit of a higher end, telemarketing thing. I mean, Autumn and I have already had some laughs about some, techniques and things. The one I love the best is, when she answers the phone and says, John? Sounds like somebody's mother. I'm still laughing about that one yesterday, right? Like, that mother, John? What have you done, John, right? And hello, Mom?
It evokes instant yes.
Yes. She said like that evokes an instant response. Well, there are certainly triggers. Okay. So I think but that's why I made a point to Charlie. Don't go there. Like, don't get all weird or high level that soon. That's somebody who's made hours and hours of distinctions after listening to the consumer, after testing telemarketing ideas, which is the same thing as I got so excited, I got all tongue twisted, right?
Telemarketing is exciting.
Telemarketing is exciting. It is,
So
especially when you get a
exciting.
result, right?
I'm glad she thinks so.
Yeah. Very exciting business.
So the point is, Grant, is that enthusiasm still should be also tied into, I think, scarcity. Hey, Grant, it's Danny Griffin calling. Sorry I missed you. Saw that your property came off MLS. Just want to let you know they did something a little different. I sent you some properties that have sold around you while you're on, and my plan. I thought maybe those two things together might shed some light on why yours didn't sell, unless, of course, you took it off. Just want to let you know that was coming in the mail. I'll definitely be calling you back to make sure you get it because I think it's valuable. In the meantime, if you want to call me, here's my number.
But slower.
Why? What's wrong with that speed? No, I'm
my
just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm training.
I know.
I'm training. Do you want me to say it slowly? They're yelling at me.
Let me ask this, Danny. When we first mail out, when we first get them, when we see they're expired, that's the voicemail drop that we leave on slide.
Sure, Grant. Yes. I mean, in a high-tech leveraged way, there's no doubt about it to have that auto voicemail that goes out and it can be scripted like that. You're seeing that as the very first thing that happens that says, hey, this just happened to you and this thing is coming. And to avoid the competition of 15 knuckleheads calling up and saying, when are you going to hire the right person and all that nonsense, right? You come in underneath the radar and absolutely end up in their voicemail because you're using technology that skips a live call. Absolutely is that where that message could go. Having said that, hi, Johnny boy. Having said that, it is also important that several times down the road, see, like Charlie has to be careful. If he calls 10 people and he gets one and he leaves 9 messages, is he going to use those messages as a trigger to get a response or an excuse to not have to call again? Let that sink in, Charlie. Let that sink in, Grant. Right? It's very important to recognize, am I going to leave a message that sets me up and puts the heat on me to stay on this deal until there's a conclusion? I think the biggest problem that we have is still, we're going to make our phone calls. Paul Cantu can attest to this because a month ago, he kept telling me, I sat down and made this many dials and I talked to this many people. I'm like, so what? What was the outcome? How many prospects were created where you actually were able to find out the timing, find out that there was no encumbrance with another relationship, make an offer that they accepted for follow-up, and then book that follow-up. Because if you don't get that result, that big empty space that's waiting for you to put prospects in the back of end of MLS to be getting properties for, that have sold, you have no relationship. You haven't moved anybody in the relationship manufacturing bin, right, Grant? So if you remember that that's the goal in conversion, moving leads to either out of your system or up to prospect is the goal. And if that's not happening, then we have to figure out why not. It may very well be because, well, Danny, I made the calls. I called 300 people. Great, says Danny. What happened? Well, I spoke to 10 of them. Awesome. Did you determine their timing? Were they coming back on the market? Yes. Great. What offer did you make? Well, I told them I'd call them back in 6 months. No. See, that's where you're sort of investigating these moments in time. No, that was just an opportunity to make the next offer of continued service, right? Hey, it sounds like you're thinking about coming back on, but you're not ready to have Danny come over and visit yet. I get it. Why don't I do this? Let me make sure this email is right. I know we sent you the course. I know you might be getting it online too. But what we'd like to do is we'd like to set you up so that automatically in your inbox, without even having to think about it, everything that comes for sale and sells, you'll know about it. So when you go out to list your $2 million property 12 months from now, you've been watching the trend of what $2 million buys and how's yours stacks up. And of course, when you're ready, Danny will come out and give you the tips on how to best prepare yourself for that. But in the meantime, we're also sending our course. So you see, you have to make that offer, Grant. But if you make it too soon, see, like that lady did not need Charlie in that moment in time and did not perceive she needed him. Okay? So you have to understand where you're at in the disposition meter. So when they don't know you from Adam, okay, you just say, hey, it's Grant, broker here in Carefree, Arizona. Want to let you know that I saw that you expired, felt bad for you, sent you out some solds, and I'll follow up to make sure you got it and see if I can shed some light on it. Okay? Now you get the guy on the phone. Guy's like, yeah, I didn't get it yet. Oh, no problem. It's coming. Well, here's what it is. And you reiterate what it is and its benefit. This is what's in it for you. There are pictures and details of properties that sold that were in your category that you were competing against. That will shed some light on what buyers said yes to. Okay? Included in there is also my thorough plan for the entire process, because I don't really know what happened, but I wanted to give you the plan we use to help our sellers be successful. So that's all coming. Hey, by the way, while I have you, were you going to come back on inside the next 12 months? That's it. That's it. But I was all about what's in that first package that's about them, that benefits them. That's what people have to hear. And if they don't hear that, then they won't even give you time. Yeah, come on.
I have a question.
Shoot.
So Autumn's been following up with, as you know, our expireds, a lot of them being old. So she's giving the offer of sending out updated comps.
Yeah.
In some cases, depending on the conversation, we're maybe sending out another seller brochure.
Yes.
Do you think it's best to include the expired cover letter or send a personal, like typed letter on our letterhead?
Excellent question. Excellent question. Both.
Oh,
Okay.
Handwritten letter?
Yeah, both.
that's
So it's a good
nice.
question. Let me just say this. If you have gone after, which we have, we've met a lot of people and they never went back on,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
they've gotten it. But what I would say is if we're resending it, all we do is start all over again. Because remember,
Yes.
you know what you know. A systematic approach eliminates what at the operating
Human
level?
discretion.
Human discretion is eliminated at the operating level.
Mhm.
However, the intelligent human says, I just talked to this person for the very first time. And even though this is the first thing and it's catching them raw, I now have a little bit of personal relationship. I don't want to give that away.
Mhm.
I just got a little bit further in the relationship meter game.
Mhm.
So what I'm going to do is say, I'm going to send you out the original package again. And then I take some stationery, which we need, because if that's going to be a real thing, and I handwrite a note. Great talking to you the other day. Here's the original package in its original form. Okay. I look forward to following up with you. Autumn, Laura, Danny. Period. Right?
Okay, I like
because what we don't want to do is we don't want to get away from that whole, mentality that when you get further along, don't give it back. Don't see, this is where we stop listening. We stop thinking. Like, if you're going to let me in the door, as far as relationship is concerned, I'm coming. And as time goes on and you trust me more, I'm going to grab the bull by the horns and take the situation over for you, because that's really what you want me to do.
Mhm.
Prospects are silently begging to be led is one of the greatest lines I ever heard, right? But I also said, prospects
Pursued, run away. Yeah.
So you have to understand that if they're giving you that trust, take it. You can sense it. And if they're giving you that relationship, dive in deeper and personalize it.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. I mean, that's what my gut was saying, but I wanted to hear your take.
Yeah, John is saying include some reviews from past clients that have helped you in the package. Yeah, that's as part of that booklet, John, the home seller course. They can all be included right in there. Absolutely. I just don't like to lead with reviews at that point. I don't think it's as important to somebody as solds. If you've sold something, to show them the solds in their category. I think, John, there's a time for reviews and testimonials. But again, we have found that the more it's just about them until they're ready to hear and want to know about us, it's kind of a subtle thing. So I would say conclude them in the book, but that wouldn't be my primary thing that I would go for.
I just want to say something about prospects are secretly begging to be led.
Yes.
Statistically, 98% of people cannot make a decision.
Yeah.
They're not skilled in that area.
Yeah.
So that's the absolute truth. They are waiting for you to call on the telephone and tell them what to do with their money, with their house,
Yeah.
with everything. And while that may seem insulting, that's based on a statistic.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that that's what we're trying to discover here. What is reality on the other side of this?
Mm-hmm.
How does the consumer, and that's the point I was just making to you, John, how does the consumer experience this? Because we're consumers.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, it's this weird balance between, weirdly enough, we make triggered decisions, predictably irrational, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's so what I was saying is that I think there is a point, like for example, with those testimonials, there's a point where I'm about to make a decision because I like you.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm going and I need more validation. I'm ready, but who else has used you? And have you ever sold and expired in my neighborhood before? That's when the grilling starts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where testimonials are 100% closers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's this, there's no right answer to this. It's more of like, this moving thing, but you have to listen what's most important to convince that person to at least go to the next level of relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think ultimately what it births is the no-brainer, yes, now's the time. Just come over and listen to me. There's no big, we've experienced for now 3+ years.
Mhm.
We don't go to dog fights for listings.
No.
It's hardly ever. Most of the time I'm going over, I'm the only one there. And I'm just going over the formula and I'm going over the math. I'm not saying that we don't run into some, where we are competing. Quite frankly, I don't like them. I don't like dog fights anymore because I know that that's not our ideal seller. Our ideal seller has been with us for a while, has been educated about our USP, which is our professional planned approach. And they get it. And they've become part of the team at that point in time. And it's just a logical conclusion to get the listing. As I said to you on the other day, we still go into that 60 days or less fight if it's available.
Right.
However, that ideal person is making a decision inside of the next 6 months because that's a pretty short window of time to prepare your house properly and understand the plan and engage in relationship with us, right? So there we go. Grant, coming back to that, I think that you did great And I think that if somebody's talking to you on the phone, about the next step, I think that was all the follow-up stuff that you could go for. But I would make sure that you remember, if you can get somebody to respond to you in that moment in time, then do so. Do you know what I mean? Like leave a message that's provocative,
Absolutely.
right? Leave a message that's provocative and get somebody to move in, right? Say, hey, it's Grant, I'll be calling you back, but you can call me. Call you on Friday. You can sound, if you're comfortable in your own voice saying something that basically says, I'm not going away until we talk, right? I'm not going away until I know you got this, because I'm the contributor here and I sent you this thing and I know certainly that this thing is going to be helpful for you. So I'm not going away. You're going to have to tell me to go away. And that's okay too, right? I know I can't help you.
Yep.
That makes sense?
It sure does. So that's our initial call where we leave that's a slide voice drop. And so then after that, we should have regular calls with this dialer. So that's my question. On the regular calls with the dialer, when we're going after, 98 expired, and we'll probably get on average two phone numbers for that. So we're dialing 180 numbers. Are we leaving voicemails when we do our follow-up calls or no?
That's a great question. I wouldn't be in a hurry to leave them if the technique you've described is going to be what you do. In other words, if you have a slide dial auto email voicemail that goes out that gets in their voicemail, and you've left this nice intelligence, saw that this happened to you, sent you this good stuff, my office will be calling to make sure that you got it. I think that's good. And then I think the office begins to call. I think in that first window of, let's say 2 or 3 days, let them breathe. Let the package arrive. Let them try to consume the package and then just pursue it. I think probably, you have to determine how quickly the mail's going to arrive there. That was our experience, right? That we had mail arriving at disparate times and we weren't congruent with it.
Yeah.
Grant, I really think that in that very first, at least 5 days, just try to let the process arrive there. I mean, if they've already relisted that quickly, the chances are that I know all the Mike Ferriettes are going to say, well, you got to get them in the first 5 minutes. Yeah, I just don't choose to make my living like that. If you want to, then you're going to leave aggressive messages very quickly. Okay. You can choose to do that. It's not my style and it's not my avatar, right? I'm looking for somebody who gets the package, consumes it, and doesn't make another quick whimsical decision that got them to be expired in the first place. So that's just an avatar decision. So if you're going to follow my same avatar, at least 5 days of breathing room before you say, hey, listen, called you this week, sent you package this week, just call them back one more time to make sure, you got it. It should have arrived by now. If it didn't, I'm concerned and I want to send you another one. Okay, I'll be following up the next couple of days to try to get you, right? And so now with our system, there's that initial package that goes out that's sort of that gift contribution, but then there's the 3 subsequent letters that go out that say, into John's case, that is where testimonials go in because you might need some harder tip at that point. So it's like, hey, I'm concerned you didn't answer the phone or tell me you got this. Hey, here's some questions you might have to, answer, like who am I and where am I from? That's the resume. And then lastly, you might have to hear from some people. So in a true Dan Kennedy-esque direct response, all the stuff that John was suggesting there with testimonials, it's still there, but it just comes in those letters and it takes the pressure off you from having to, really be grinding. You can choose to be a grinder on the phone too. I don't recommend it. Cool? Does that help? Does that help? Go ahead, Grant.
Looking at our follow-up calls through this FedEx system, they have Vortex as the dialer.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a lot of phone numbers, and you just don't know if you're ever reaching them. So I think the initial voicemail drop slide will say it's been dropped or not. And after that, I've just called, like last weekend, I just called and didn't leave too many voice messages. I just wanted to get through the phone calls. They picked up, then we can get in dialogue.
Yeah, I agree. And I think,
or whatever.
I just think, that's what I said to Charlie. I think we have a lot of good conversations on these sales training calls, but then people don't go execute in volume. Like if you don't execute in volume, if you don't do X number of open houses, Y number of phone calls to expireds, X number of follow-ups to internet leads, you're just not doing enough to get a result of enough consumers that's a good sampling. The sample sizes are all too small. You need bigger sample sizes. So I would say that stick with it for a good solid 6 months, and your sample sizes will clarify what happens. Speaking of which, I'm going to answer questions about this, Grant, but I'm going to go over to the FISBO call that Tony sent, and I'm going to listen to it, because here's my point. Like, here's a for sale by owner. May or may not be somebody's avatar, but this will be a real call, and we can listen to it. Anybody have questions about it? Yep, come on, go ahead.
I got a comment.
Go, Lee.
I don't get to that. Most people call first 2 days and then they drop off.
Yeah.
And they move on to the new expired. So we do 6 calls in 2 days. We take a day off, and then we get another call the 4th day and 5th day.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And the other thing is that texting is a big, huge thing as well.
Texting to yeah, is your experience people texting with you will eventually talk to you, or at least give you their timing? What's your experience with texting? Because I always want to be specific, because I know that you use it in conjunction with calling. I don't want somebody to think that it replaces calling.
No, we do 3 calls on the first and second day, 1 text each day. Nothing on the 3rd day. 1 call, 1 text on the 4th and 5th day. And texting basically, it clears out people who aren't interested or said, kiss my ass or whatever it is. But you also do your conversations more or less on the start, the latter days, because the phones will calm down a little bit. If they haven't relisted already, then you might be able to get a conversation going.
Yeah. Awesome. Super. I think that's great. Let's listen to this live call here. Did somebody else was trying to get me there too? Somebody else have a comment, question, thought? Yeah? No?
Amy does.
The one question I have is about how many expired do you get in a month, roughly?
That varies.
This might be a question for Laura.
Yeah, that varies depending on the time of year. But I would say on average, I probably get 8 a week. So that would be.
We have 200 a month.
So sometimes, some months I'm like at 60 for that month, depending on if a lot of properties typically expire during that season. And then sometimes it can go way down. Like I'll only get like 1 or 2 that week. So it varies, but I'd say on average it's about 8 a week.
Yeah.
Okay. Seems like that's kind of how our.
Yeah, and Katie, you know what too? This all has to do with what we talk about in the mastermind about where are they and then who are they? And even without getting into the avatar exercise about psychographics and demographics of the human beings, if the area is not large enough and you do want to put, make pursuing expireds part of what you do, you'll have to go wider, or you'll have to broaden the price range within which you'll focus, right? I think we made it pretty clear to you all this week that our avatar is average or above for our expired pursuit. That's what we're looking for right now. We might cheat it a little bit down below the average if Autumn has already exhausted all these others in these 3 villages and there's not enough. So I think managing that number, Katie, has a lot to do with you and Grant deciding where are they, okay, physically, because those are the areas you want to start with. I suggest you 2 start from the top down, the most expensive down, to the average, and then maybe below that. And when that's all exhausted, if that's enough, good. If it's not enough, you're going to do the same thing. I would recommend that it might even be contiguous areas rather than keep going deep dive into the lower end stuff there in that avatar. Again, I'm trying to teach the pursuit of gross commission income for the same effort that you would make. So until we master that, I don't think, you could have a department of our desire here is that Laura and I have Autumn help us develop out a whole telemarketing department that expands geography that way, right? Mm-hmm. And that everybody can focus on an area that's enough to supply them to, with enough business to be busy all week. So I do think it's a geographic thing. So when you're comparing to us, that's the qualifier. You have to understand we're very specific about what we're looking for. So we might get 8, but we might have 6 of them not be anything that we're interested in, right? Follow?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking at 192 in the past, expired leads over the past year that are still have not listed in our geographic area.
But again, I'll ask this again. At what price? Because that's the segment of the list that I'm interested in talking about. Okay? It's not the number.
450 and above, the average price is 530.
Okay. That's fine. That's your list. And like Lee says, he's about to say, call them all, right, Lee?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Lee, I want to know your call sequence. 3 calls days, the first and second day, and then what happens after that? We take off the 3rd day, and then we go to 4th. We do 15 contacts the first 5 days. Second 5 days, we go to 10 contacts. The third 5 days, we go down to 7, and then the last 5 days, we go down to 3 times.
Grant, for you, that's all too complicated. Okay? It's all too complicated. He's been doing it for now 3 years, and he and I have been working one-on-one, and you know that we have this whole expired plan. I don't think that's the right question. I think the right question is for you. You're going to pursue them all till you bring them to a conclusion. Period, paragraph. That's it. I mean, just you're going to determine who's making these phone calls, when are they making these phone calls, and everybody that qualifies in the geography is pursued until there is an outcome. Right? The idea is if I have a pool of these people that have not gone back and done anything, they have received the delivery of the mail, I'm going to continue to call them until they tell me to go away or they pick up the phone and tell me yes or no for follow-up, period. I mean, you're trying to get way more technical and detailed before even beginning the sort of en masse approach. You follow me? Like they all go back into one file of not reached. Who cares how many times you call? I think the only real question you should be asking is how often should I leave a voicemail? Should I mix in text once a week, twice a week? That's fair game. But what he just said, he has a whole entire telemarketing staff that's developed and has been working at this for multiple years. I wouldn't go there. Keep it simple or you won't do anything. Then you go, now what did Lee say again? He said 3 this day, 2 that day, 6 this day, 7 that day, text me. Doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Just do it.
Pick up the phone and call somebody and have a conversation. On Tuesdays, 2 to 4. Thursdays, 8 to 10. Try it. See where I'm going? That was for everybody, by the way. I just think you're trying to.
Hey, Dan, just one thing I do want to add. I'd say 3 calls, but that means 3 attempts. So if you have a dialer, and we have a lot of expired, so we can call. We'll run through the whole list, and then the ISAs will start firing it back up and call them again. So it's 3 attempts, not just 3 different times or whatever.
All right, I gotta move on. I want to hear this call. Let's listen.
Hey, Danny, I have one question. I want to think about. We had a situation. ISA we had a home evaluation. The guy wanted to put it on the market. We were doing really well with it, and then he decided that he wanted to put it on the market himself because it's a hot area and a hot market. So what would be your response to that? I want to get it on face because I think you're going to say the same thing I did.
Yeah, well, say, hey, we're happy to let you sell it yourself. Why don't we let's throw down the gauntlet. Let's see if I can sell it before you can sell it. You let me list it. We'll let you have the right to do it yourself at the same time. And let's see who wins.
That's
it.
I didn't say that, but I like that.
Yeah. What did you say? What did you say?
I basically said go into that 98% of properties are sold by realtors. We sell at an average up to 109% over asking price. And what is the net you want? If we send you a net sheet, we can get you that number where you let us list the house.
Okay, so the net sheet was good, but you know what I heard? I heard that other song, me, right? You don't need it. Don't need it. Say, is that what you want? You want to take a whack at it yourself because you think you can save the commission? Awesome. Why don't you let me list it? I'm going to go do all the things that I do. And if you beat me to it, what are you going to do? You're going to do open houses? You're going to throw the fly speck in the ocean ad on here? You're going to put on Zillow, all those great things you're going to do? Awesome. I don't do any of those things that you're going to do. I do my plan. So why don't you let me list it? And we'll write in here, you have the exclusive right to sell it directly yourself. You just have to let us know that you're talking to somebody in advance. then you can get into all that other stuff. Say, hey man, God bless you for trying, but did you know this? Like 98% of these things are sold here directly in the marketplace. And the minute you take yourself out of the marketplace, yeah, but I can go on Zillow's marketplace. That's not the marketplace. Well, I can do an entry-only listing. Yeah, great. Okay, set it and forget it. That's also a fly speck in the ocean. What you don't understand is this actually, even though it's hot, it takes pushing. It takes push marketing. It takes good negotiation. I went over this with you before. You can take if you're gonna do it yourself, do me a favor. At least protect yourself. Let me send you over my 7-point seller plan. Okay, great. I know your perception is that you can do what I can do. So the best thing I can do is let's have a competition, right? You see if you're better than me. We both do it at the same time. So I think it's all in there, Lee, what you said. I'll go back to what I was saying to Salkowski earlier. It still has to be in the right order. You can't ignore what they want to do because it sounds like arguing the minute you say what you said, right? Did you know that 98%? And what if we could get you? You're arguing with him. He's made a decision that he would like to try it himself. And he's looking for evidence to corroborate that he's right. And what you're giving him is he's a dummy, right? Period. No, dum-dum. It doesn't work like that. And that's what the problem is. Now we have a collision course. So now we get into this insecure battle. Yeah, but my friend told me that he went on Zillow and why go there? Instead of just accepting what they want. Say, yeah, sounds great. It's not easy, but it sounds great. You want to give it a whack? Here's what I tell people when they're trying to sell it themselves. Why don't we both do it at the same time? Because nobody's made that offer to them, right? Fizzballs. Call up every one of them in the neighborhood and tell them, right?
I like it.
All right. I got to listen to this. Hang on. Here we go. This is come to think of it, this is the Fizzbo call. Listen in. We're going to go overtime today.
Hello. Hi. May I speak with the owner of the home of 1400 12th Street? Is that you? Yes, it is. Oh, wonderful. My name is Heather. I work with Legendary Properties. I was wondering if you have you sold the home yet, or is it just starting to be on the market? No, we just put it on the market. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Well, are you cooperating with real estate agents? Meaning if no, we're not. We're to buy it. I'm sorry, who did you say that you were with? Heather, with who? I'm with Legendary Properties. Legendary Properties. Buyers. We have about 500 right now, pre-qualified buyers looking in Rio Rancho, because that's our only area of specialty. So I was just wondering if we were to put you on our list of buyers.
Oh, shoot. Hang on.
Hello?
Hang on.
Hello?
Shoot.
Hello?
Won't let me forward it. Sorry.
Hi.
Let's listen
May
again.
I speak with the owner of the home of 1400 12th Street? Is that you? Yes, it is. Oh, wonderful. My name is Heather. I work with Legendary Properties. I was wondering if you have you sold the home yet, or is it just starting to be on the market? No, we just put it on the market. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Well, are you cooperating with real estate agents? Meaning if no, we're not. We're to buy it. I'm sorry, who did you say that you were with? Heather, with who? I'm with Legendary Properties. We work with buyers. We have about 500 right now, pre-qualified buyers looking in Rio Rancho, because that's our only area of specialty. So I was just wondering if we were to put you on our list of buyers, would you be willing to pay a partial commission if we brought you a buyer? Yeah, maybe, I guess. Okay, because how much is that? What is a partial commission? Well, usually 3%, but it just depends, and you could discuss that more with the broker. I'm the broker's assistant, but we work with for sale by owners on many different levels. You sure? I'm sorry?
And what does it entail? So, I mean, someone will come over
what we'd like to do is just preview the home for just a couple minutes, just to check it out, make sure that it's a fit, and see which buyers it fits for. And that way we can also include it in our monthly mailing to all of our buyers that are looking for homes in Rio Rancho, if that would be acceptable to you.
Well, this is first.
Yeah, I think we really need to discuss much more than, that sounds really just quickly. I don't know how to.
Well, I'm not sure what you mean. What are you wanting to know?
How much you're gonna charge us to do all of this?
Well, as I mentioned before,
Nothing
half of
unless
the
we have a
typical
buyer.
commission is
She
3%.
doesn't have any control of this
And that's
conversation at
usually
all.
what it is. But Tony works with for sale by owner in different ways. So if we brought the buyer to you, though, it would be a 3% commission. We also do another thing that might be advantageous to you. I don't know if it would be helpful, but we've worked with a lot of for sale by owners, and we work real differently. We try to help you along the way. And so what we've done with a lot of our for sale by owners is we actually offer our services to you completely, like a normal listing.
All right, I'm gonna stop. I mean, I want to jump out a window. It's so
Yeah,
long.
it's painful.
Yeah, it's like we're sitting here.
Extremely
We're sitting
painful.
here listening to this, and it's just
Extremely painful.
she's lost.
She's not prepared.
Yeah,
She's not listening.
yeah,
She's showing fear. She's not in control of her pitch.
Yeah.
She's not being conversational, and she's not being concise. I would have hung up on her immediately.
yeah, yeah.
And I wouldn't have trusted Legendary.
What about you?
I don't think she has a grasp of the goal of the call.
She's lost
Certainly.
control.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just very,
There's no outcome here because she's
and
reiterating.
it's all about like
Yeah.
them and like what. It's not about the consumer.
Right.
100%.
None of them know
There's-
what's going on.
No, they're very confused.
All three of them
Well,
are confused.
I'm going to end this call today with where we started. Where's the contribution?
Yeah, that's
Where's the contribution? It's just, again, if there's anything to reorient this call, there's a lack of contribution here. She's trying to explain something over the phone. She's reiterating it over and over. There were moments where she had them leaning in.
Right.
There's no
She
doubt
didn't
about
take
it.
advantage.
There's moments they were leaning in. Well, what does this all entail? Well, nothing unless we bring a buyer over, but we just want to come preview it and see what it is and be able to match it up. So if we can bring a buyer over, if you're open to that, great. I'll send Tony over. Now Tony goes in the house, it's a whole different story. It was already there. I think the meat of what was possible for an appointment was there. I think the opportunity was missed because whatever she's trying to do, she's trying to do way too much. And this is not the first time. Hello?
Market,
Hello?
314.
Hang on. So the point there, to summarize, was if you don't know what you're trying to accomplish on that phone, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay? Because Tony sent me something that he said, this is new. Some stuff that he said was new. That's why I lost the call because I was trying to read his notes. Please, this is a call. I use this new idea for FSBOs, and this was my first call with them. I think it's a great idea, and I think it will get more reception than any other way. What? Like, I'm just going to tell them we listened to this, and we don't even know what you're talking about.
Right.
like
Okay.
what is new?
We listened to this and have no idea from the call
Neither do the consumers.
what you're referring to, right? Anybody else have a comment on that?
There's not much good work going through at the end.
Well, there's the end would have been a long time ago, Lee. Like, I mean, I'm 3+ minutes into this. I
Yeah.
would have hung up a long time ago, right?
They're just so nice over there.
I mean,
Just
I'll
get in, get
listen.
out.
I'll listen to the end of it, Lee, because I'm out of time here. But even if there is a good ending, that is awful in the beginning. If there's a new thing that is trying to be offered, there's no contribution, right? Laura picked up on it. It's about we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. How's it going? You sell it yet? Great. How's it going? How are you marketing it? Right? Is that successful for you? I mean, something. about them. Something that you could call up and contribute to their situation. Because now what you're trying to do is, here are some people that are skeptical about people. She called them hokey. That sounds hokey. Like they're paranoid. I told you this is the growing trend in this country, both countries, the northern hemispheres, skepticism.
How about I sent you our 7-step seller plan to help you sell it yourself?
For sure, because that's our cover letter. Yeah.
And instead of asking them, we're going to send someone over to assess the property, that's terrible. Then they have to set up an appointment. She says, well, have someone come over to view the property. What's that?
That's more or less to get Tony at the door.
Well, Tony, that is the
Oh,
close.
that's
That is the
I
close.
get it.
So
Okay,
that's the
forgive me.
close. The close is to get in the door,
Okay.
see what it is, and while he's there, bring the 7 steps.
But-
bring some comparables. Say, these are the things that I use with my sellers to help them. I thought I would bring this gift directly to you. It's the same thing all over again.
But without
Why don't you-
contribution, there's no, why would I do that?
Yeah, right. Well, again, they've gone for sale by owner for a reason. They're skeptical, they're scared, they have a money paradigm that's different, it's too much, they don't understand. And I think that's why you have to be careful about your avatar. These people clearly do not understand the basics of our business.
Right.
They don't. So you're not going to explain that by rambling on and on and on about, well, we have these services and we have these. Well, why don't I send you over our plan and I'll call you back? I'll send you over some comparables, call you back.
Yeah.
And if you're open to paying a co-broke fee, if we bring you a buyer, I'll have Tony come over and look at it this week. End of story. Otherwise, it's just too long. Cut to the chase. I don't care. I don't care if you live in a place like Albuquerque where they are that forgiving and you can stay on that long. It's still not efficient. There's too much noise. I'll listen to the whole thing, Lee, to make sure that I get it, and I'll come back and apologize if it's amazing at the end. But it's just, we're not there yet, 3 minutes in, bud. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
I will say this, for sale by owners are very difficult, and they're very difficult to talk to on the phone because they're skeptical, and they also, they're trying to cut out the commission part, even though they don't understand how it works.
Yeah. I'm just trying to give you.
Well,
Yeah, go
our
ahead. Somebody
job
else
to
want to say
give them
something? I heard somebody
education.
else about to say something. Go.
Yeah. Hey, Danny, I just went through that with a lady, and I was trying to, I hear what she was saying, and I bet you I was probably verbatim. And I ended up selling her a house, but she just wanted to sell her stuff, so I ended up sending her the packet in the middle of it, and that's when she came around to me even more and saw more value. I didn't sell her house. She ended up going with a discount broker to get it in the MLS for, I don't even know what she got, ended up paying for that, but it was literally too much me doing what that call was doing, and I luckily I had I've got our coaching group, and I just reversed everything and just sent the package. Said, hey, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to hurt you or take something from you. I want to help you, and this is how I'm doing. I delivered it to her.
Hey, George, stop for a second. Yeah, Georgie, I got it. Stop for a second. The real question is, why are you or anybody calling for sale by owners first when I haven't heard any mastery of expireds and probates in this group to any large extent? If there's anybody who's done well, it's been Lee. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, hang on.
She was a buyer, Lee.
Yeah, hang on. This is what I'm saying. Spending any kind of time with somebody who's gone for sale by owner before all these other opportunities, to me, is a head scratcher. Their paradigm, like I go back to Avatar. Why is that the best avatar? I mean, if somebody's telling me, man, we just called every expired, right? At the price range we want, in all the villages, the contiguous towns. Then we went to probates and we uncovered who was there at the right, price, etc. And we had nothing else to do, so we started calling for physicals. I mean, that would be my mentality. I'm just sharing that transparently. A for sale by owner is doing that because they have a money paradigm. They don't think they can afford it, whatever it is. Why do we have to swim upstream when we don't have to swim upstream?
Yeah.
Right? I don't understand that. So, but having said that, I'm happy to listen to it.
Again, I'm leaning like you. I need to get my scripting in my story. Actually, I'm trying to use that word instead of scripting. My story down
where I'm a little, I do it in my sleep and then transition into the little bit more difficult for sale by own.
All right, I got to call it. I'm way over time. Georgie, thanks for the comments in the end. Thank you, everybody who participated. We went OT here. We had a lot of good stuff here. I think the bottom line is the word contribution. If you don't get yourself with that compass in your hand saying, am I going to be able to contribute something positive to this human being in the next 10 seconds, 30 minutes, whatever you're going to be doing, contribute first, and the rest will follow. I'll challenge you to do that over the weekend. Come back and tell me next week in the sales training call that you had that in mind and you did it, and let's see the result. I'll guarantee you a more positive conversation comes from it, and you can make an offer to people who are motivated and actually want you to tell them more, not like what we just listened to. All right? All right, everybody. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for being here. Take care.
Thanks, Danny.
You're welcome. Thanks, Georgie.
Write those letters.
Yeah, you won. Divorce. That's it.
Probate too.
No, probate's already done. Probate's done. Oh, the attorney. All right, fair enough.
Is probate the other disposition?
It is. Thank you.
All right, later.
Yep, see you, bud.
Probate is what, a bank
Hang on a
situation?
second, hang on.
Is probate where the
Hang on,
bank has
hang
it?
on, hang on.